so many different ways to win matches, right? There are so many different phases and all that stuff and strategies and skill sets that you need. But I'm going to tell you one thing. The way your approach, your attitude, your determination to win. Sometimes you can't even teach that. Sometimes you just got to have it. You just got to have it. You cannot expect the other person to have a bad match. You can't say, oh man, I hope they don't fight well. You know, you can't be that person. Or you can't have a top seed over here, right? Let's be honest, right? You can't have a top seed over here and you like down here in their bracket. You're like, oh, I hope they lose. And guess what? If I were you, if they lost early, you should really be worried. Like, man, who beat them? You know, that's what I'll be worried about. Like, man, who beat the top seed? Whoever that is, they determined for real. Now you got to fight them. You should be that person saying, I want to knock the number one person off first. I want them. Why are you waiting till last to say, dude, I want to see them? No, that's a scary way out. If you truly believe that you're the best in your division, whatever division you fight, then fight the best person in. If you have nothing to lose. If you know you're not the best and there's no shame in that, then why are you not doing the work to get better? You know what you're supposed to do. My team is not great or perfect by any means or necessary, but I tell them the truth all the time. If any of my athletes are not flexible, I say, you're already at a disadvantage. Even before the match starts. Even before the match starts, you're already at a disadvantage. Because you can't even get your leg up high enough. Already you're behind. Already. That means as a coach, I can only call this kick. I can only call this play. I can only turn you this way. Oh, sir, I can't kick this way. I can only kick this way. Oh, sir, I can't go that way. I can only go this way. Sir, I can't punch with my right hand. I can only punch with my left. It's like, come on now. You hurting us. So then, when you have all the skill sets, whatever it may be, all your weight management, all that stuff, nutrition, if you have all that down, now you do your strategy. It's like, okay, you have another athlete across the ring just as good as you. Eventually it's going to happen. I don't care how many people you have in your bracket. It can be 8, 16, it can be 20, 50, it doesn't matter. Eventually, when it goes like this, those people that make it toward the top, they're going to be really good. Then you got to learn how to beat the really good fighters. And they just like you. They're just as skilled as you are. Now, you got to use this. You got to use this. You got to say, how can I outthink them in this ring? How can I make them make mistakes? How can I frustrate them? You got to do something that they don't expect you to do. If they know you're going to fight with your front leg, fight with your back leg. If they know you're going to go forward, go backward. It's like different things. You got to go about it different ways. But the one thing you can do is go out there and do your best, and then afterward, talk to your coach, and then make adjustments. I tell my athletes the truth all the time. Some of them, they'll win. I'll tell them the truth. I say, you fought horrible. Sometimes they'll lose. I say, you fought good. You just ran into a better fighter. Because that's the truth. And then you can learn from that. So watch your wins and don't celebrate your win. Like, ooh, look how good I look. No, watch the matches you win and say, man, I did some good stuff, but look, I made a mistake here, 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 and here. Sometimes, as ugly as your losses may be, look at your loss and say, yeah, I actually did something good there. I was a second off here, and I was a mistake off there. Because that's how you get better. Analyze your matches. Do the homework. Do what you're supposed to do. That's what all athletes do in all sports. They are students of the game. I don't care what sport you like, what sport you play. You ask the best athletes, read about them, pick up a book, look on the internet, Google search it. They all talk about how they watch film and they study. You know what they study? They study other great athletes all the time. They say, oh, what do they do? Okay, they do this. Okay, that's what they work on. Okay, all right. And they go work on it. That's exactly what they do. They don't get the big head and say, oh, I know everything. Because once you think you know everything, that's where you stop growing. I don't know who I was talking to today as a coach. I'm always trying to learn. Always. I don't know everything. I even tell I don't know everything. I be trying to figure it out with them sometimes. I be like, let's try this, see if this works. Okay, let's turn this way, see if this works. All right, how you like this? I was talking to his dad last night. One of the best things I like that when I communicate with the athletes I coach is the communication. I can talk to them. That's why I get to know them. I say, hey, this is what, because in practice, like, okay, I talk to them the same way at practice I do at the tournament. I'm not going to lie. So I'm sometimes angry at practice, sometimes nice at practice. Depends on what they're doing. But my point is, I talk to them to understand like what they're thinking, what they're trying to do. And sometimes we figure it out. Sometimes we say we'll come back to it. But the main thing is we're working toward a common goal. So when you come here to train for yourself. Don't train for your parents. Don't train for your coach. Train for yourself. And then once you're training for yourself, you can elevate your teammates. You can make your teammates better. That's why I don't like when my team come in and they're lazy or they just kick each other soft, because you're not helping anyone doing that. Or you're not being a good partner. You might as well go home. I don't need you at practice. If you're going to come in here and be lazy and just go like this, you think you're impressing me by picking your leg up and showing up? No. You could have stayed at home and I wouldn't have been upset. And I'm telling you exactly what I'm not lying to you guys. Exactly what I tell them. I say, if you don't want to come to practice, don't come. Don't come to practice. Because if you come to practice, you better train. I don't want to see you. But if you stay at home, I won't be upset. I'm not going to be upset if you say, hey, sir, I don't feel good. Hey, whatever. Oh, sir, my stuff. Hey, whatever you say. Oh, sir, I got a lot of homework. Hey, whatever your excuse is, I hope it's good enough. But if you show up to practice, you bet to train. So this training environment here, you got 6 coaches here, maybe even more. My number might be off. My point is, you got over 40 athletes here. You have some that made national teams, some that been to world champion. Some been to world championship. If I were you, I'll be asking questions. That's what I would do. Hey, how you make national team? Hey, how you go to Worlds? And when you went to Worlds, what they do? How you get to this point? What else stuff? What kind of adversity you go to? Right? Was it a cakewalk for you? Was it just easy all the time? No. Guys, where's City at? Where's City? From Cuba. Over there. Was it easy when you went to Worlds? No. Exactly. Senior Worlds. It's like, ask questions. Like, man, how you get from point A to point B? Seriously. You have to ask these questions. You have to try to figure it out. And it's going to be the last thing I say. I'm going to shut my mouth, okay? I had this young lady, and they know this too. I had them talk. This is a girl that used to be on my team. I talk to her all the time. And I'll never forget, she came in my school. She said, sir, I haven't won a tournament in 3 years. And you hear something like this, like, all right, look, we're talking about U.S. Open. You know, she said, a tournament, like a local, like down the street tournament. And we just started working slowly. And then I told her, and she spoke with her too, I was like, this girl went from somewhat winning local tournament, started medalling at nationals, end up going to the World Cup, end up going to like to the World Games through the collegiate sports, and just doing great. I was like so happy for her because it goes to show you anyone, and that girl, she didn't believe she can do anything. If anyone can do well in this sport, don't let nobody tell you different. It's always up to you, okay? But if you don't do the work, it's not going to magically happen. It's not going to happen. You have to train when no one else is training. You have to. You just can't say, I go to practice all the time. No, you got to do more than that. You got some country that don't stop training. You got some athletes that are homeschooled, and that's all they do. All right, anyway.
I thought that was inspirational music coming up.
That's Dave Chappelle said, wrap it up.
That's like the Oscars, you know, you're being put
Hey,
on.
I'm done, guys. I'm serious. Again, it's an honor to train any athlete for me. I love coaching. I'm passionate about it, and that's why I'm talking to you, because I don't want anyone to sell you some false hope. I'm always going to speak the truth. So again, if you want to be good at this sports, train hard. When we do our date-on matches tomorrow, it's just practice, but practice to win. Don't practice to lose. Work on things that you're afraid to work on. Challenge someone. Say, hey, I want to fight this person even though I know they're going to be hard. Okay? And if you know that you overmatching someone, you know, be humble. Anyone can be beaten, trust me, okay? Humble yourself and help someone. That don't mean you just kick him like a little kid. Like, no, you still fight him strong, but don't embarrass him and try to go for the knockout. Yes, sir? Yes, sir. All right, I'm done.